What is up, everyone? This is Max. And on this channel, we talk a little bit about everything from sports science to maybe some stuff in the news and a little bit of everything in between. So today, first topic of our three, probably the title of this video, is my official statement on running for weight loss. Now, this is something I really wanted to bring up because it's something you, my fellow listeners, have probably encountered a time or two. I know if I go back 18 years, maybe at this point in time, I wanted to lose weight. I was a little heavy, a little larger than I needed to be. And what's the first thing you think about doing when you think about losing weight? It's exercising. At least for me. And what form of exercising? Jogging. Running. And for some reason, running and weight loss have become such a synonymous pair. Well, at least a tandem that works together in most people's eyes. But the reality is, running for weight loss doesn't really make a ton of sense all the time. But let me explain. Weight loss itself comes from a caloric deficit. You can achieve this caloric deficit by not exercising at all, just by eating less. You can achieve this caloric deficit by eating the same and exercising a bit more, so you burn more than you consume. Or you can achieve this caloric deficit by training a lot and eating a lot less, but that deficit becomes really large and sometimes a little bit too much to recover from. Moral of the story is if you want to lose weight, you need a caloric deficit, and how you achieve that caloric deficit doesn't necessarily matter when it comes to the goal of weight loss. So how does running fit into this? Fair question. Running is often, I really would argue, is people's number one go-to form of general exercise. Let's go for a jog. I want to lose some weight. I should pick up jogging. Well, if you need to lose weight, it means you're at a weight that is currently too much. And then you're going to go and jog with a heavier body weight. And that's not really the kindest thing to your knees, ankles, and hips. Mainly because you are probably overweight if you're trying to lose weight. Not, maybe it's a little bit of weight, and that totally depends. But for myself, speaking anecdotally, when I just picked up jogging, when I was overweight, it caused a lot of aches and pains. So there's a school of thought here that jogging to lose weight is the best way, but the reality is jogging has many benefits that are adjacent to weight loss, cardiovascular benefits. Capillary density, if you want to get nerdy about it, in certain muscles that will be locally used. The actual bone loading is important and can stimulate osteoblasts, which build bones. There's a lot of benefits to running. But weight loss doesn't have to be one of those benefits. So it can be a benefit because it puts you over the edge of, under in a caloric deficit, but it doesn't mean it is itself uniquely beneficial. So my official statement on running for weight loss is that it does not need to be running for weight loss. You can run and you can want to lose weight and you can do both. And they don't have to be paired together. The reason why this is really important too is because someone like myself who's in a good shape, I should run more. Why? Because interacting with the ground and being able to, run a mile at one consistent output seems like a good indicator for health and wellness. And the reason why I don't like thinking about running for weight loss is because it also means we don't run if we are at a certain weight. So just my 2 cents on it. Do you have to run for weight loss? No, you can create a caloric deficit through many different means. Can it help you lose weight? Absolutely. If you're very overweight relative to the goal you want to be at, does picking running the best option for exercise? Well, because you can't even do the duration of running that long because you are overweight, because of the wear it places on the joints and muscles, well, maybe it's not the best option just because the general effort you have to produce to burn those calories, you can't meet that because you can't really run very well because you're maybe a little bit overweight than you want to be at the moment relative to the goal that you're eventually going to get to. That is my official statement on weight loss. Topic number 2, a unique form of conditioning. So we did this in our workout today. I wanted to talk about it while it's still fresh in our mind, my mind, and you, the listener, gets benefit from it. It is the idea of explosive conditioning. You're going to say, well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, no, it doesn't make sense if you think of conditioning as purely aerobic. More times than not, people think conditioning is just running, and you can see why my train of thought is tied together here. Conditioning doesn't mean you're out of breath, huffing and puffing. It just means you are conditioning yourself to do a certain task. So, in this case, explosive conditioning is a process of exposing yourself to repeated explosive efforts, say sprint, throw something, jump, single burst effort, many different times with adequate recovery. Some people call this sarcoplasmic reticulum training. Yep, believe it or not, your sarcoplasmic reticulum releases calcium that induces the initial muscle contraction. And the theory behind that is the sarcoplasmic reticulum has an output. The amount of calcium dictates the amount of binding opportunities and therefore related to force production. And then the uptake has to do with the recovery process. And typically the burst occurs at the initial go. And if we just have one initial go and then take a break, you can theoretically train this process over and over again, these big explosive efforts, without having excessive fatigue buildup in the sense you would if you were to run a sprint, but instead of just sprinting, you decide to sprint, 60 seconds, like a 400, you'd be pretty tired and you can't do many bouts of first efforts. However, if we separate this to many different first effort bouts, well, we can train that first rep of explosiveness over and over and over again. Condition yourself. Explosive conditioning. An example, great question from the audience, is throwing a medicine ball. What we did today, we threw a medicine ball. I had 20 pounds, maybe went 15 yards. I'd walk, pick it up, do it again. Basically 30 seconds in between each rep. You can do about 60 total reps. Your heart is not pounding out of your chest. You're not pouring with sweat. You get fatigued in the sense you just can't throw it as far, but you're not fatigued in the sense that, oh my gosh, I am going to pass out because I'm exhausted and I can feel my heart beating and I'm sweating and I need some water. Explosive conditioning. Pretty interesting concept, something really not utilized at all, at least in terms from what I see. Maybe you do it and I'm not aware. Maybe you're just smarter than me and you're out here doing really advanced forms of conditioning that I never thought of. Well, haven't. I obviously did thought of it. I did think of it because I did it. Well, not many other people think of it, and maybe you're just ahead of the curve. So, explosive conditioning, cool concept. If you guys have questions, ask about it. Maybe I'll make a video specifically showing and demonstrating some of those movements. Number 3 is my fame. Yep, you're here. You probably get it. You probably understand by now. I'm officially crowned the most famous dad in Iowa. Google it. Ask Google yourself. Who is the most famous dad in Iowa? And it is me. So I just want to take a moment, a crowning moment, of having the title of most famous dad in Iowa. Why? Because it's because of you that it's possible, but also I think it is kind of hilarious. Most famous dad in Iowa? Me. It kind of started off as a joke that I was the most famous 32-year-old dad in Iowa, which you could probably make an argument. I'm not really sure how many 32-year-old dads in Iowa you are aware of. But now I have a title, the most famous dad in Iowa. Am I deserving of it? Well, it is the title I have. I'm not sure who deserves it. But that's why. So why not, right? Why not take it? I don't know how many times in life I'm going to be claimed to be the most famous anything at any point in time for any reason at all. So why not have a little fun and laugh about it? Most famous dad in all of Iowa. So my little news update for you guys, a little report. 3 important things you might want to think about. First 2 probably more important than the third one, or maybe the third one is actually way more important than the first 2. I appreciate you guys, as always. Hope you got something from this.